Ladies and gentlemen, this session is going to be moderated by Mr. Kamal Mukherjee, who is a national award-winning filmmaker, I beg your pardon, biographer and an author. Can I please have all of you to give him a big round of applause, please? Kamal Mukherjee over here. Can I please request you to kindly join me over here on stage? And he'll be joined on stage by Soumya Mukherjee, who is the COO of Hoichoi. Can I please request Soumya Mukherjee to join me on stage, please? Thank you, sir. We also have with us Satya Paul, Head of Brand Solutions, TVF. Can I please have Satya over here, please? Thank you so much. Please give it up for Satya, ladies and gentlemen. We also have Pratim D. Gupta, who's an Indian journalist, film critic, screenwriter, and film director, all rolled into one. Please give it up for Pratim over here. Thank you so much. And we also will be having Sujoyneel Bandyopadhyay, who's a TV host and content creator, but I believe he's stuck somewhere in traffic, so he's yet to make it. So we'll be going ahead in the best interest of time, and then he'll be joining midway. So on that note, request all of you to please take your seats. Thank you so much. And Ramda, please take over the proceedings. Thank you. When Sujoyneel comes, he'll take his seat.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you, Shubhajit, for this wonderful introduction, as usual. And a very good evening to you all, and I'm extremely happy to be a part of this panel discussion organized by IWMBuzz. I think this is their first chapter in Calcutta, so best wishes to them and the entire team for organizing this event in City of Joy. I'm very happy to share stage with people who are telling different stories and trying to bring in different images in front of you through various medium. And we all know that how things are changing in today's scenario, how people are consuming content in different ways. And that's why I guess we have this panel, which is a very unique panel in its own way, because we have Mr. Soumya Mukherjee, who is the CEO of Hoichoi. And Hoichoi, can we call Hoichoi as Kolkata's Netflix?
We are in itself a platform, so we are the Hoichoi of India.
Okay, great. So that's what, because you know, when you step into Calcutta or you talk about West Bengal, you cannot not talk about Hoichoi. So that's the strong branding and the content that they have been providing for many years hence. And Satya, of course, TVF, the viral fever. TVF, if we are talking about alternate medium of entertainment, I guess TVF, we cannot ignore the contribution that they have given so far. Of course, Aruna being the pioneer, and we all know that what TVF is all about. They are also kind of looking into the regional market, and welcome to Calcutta. And of course, Pratim, there's a long history. I think this whole evening will go if I start talking about Pratim, because he's a dear friend of mine and a colleague, and I love his work from his very first film to whatever he has done so far. I've been a avid watcher of or an audience of his content, and I really at times envy that how he can kind of come up with so much of variety. So coming to today's topic, it's evolution of storytelling. So I would like to start with Soumya, because I guess you are the one who is providing a bouquet in that case, because when it comes to an OTT platform, we see that it's an observation. You can put in, you can throw light onto it. That is it particularly in Calcutta, since we are here in Calcutta, do you think that OTT somewhere the content is an extension of the TV content that we see, and we are trying to balance it out between the TV serial audience and somewhere try to get them also to watch the content, or you are completely trying to create a different database, a different subscriber for your platform?
That's a very interesting question, Ram. And when we started Hoichoi, I think the objective was definitely to figure out a very different audience set. But as we have scaled up, and today pretty much Hoichoi is a worldwide platform, right? And we have so many global users. So whenever we are trying to figure out a content slate, we keep in mind what somebody in the US will also be watching, what somebody sitting out of Durgapur would be watching. So it is not necessarily, let's say, I'm creating content only for an urban Kolkata audience. And the slate that we always try to do is definitely we want to be a platform which is more of an extension of TV. We want to create content which entertains a large chunk of people. At the same time, one very important aspect that has come out, especially when creating any kind of content, be it television, be it web or films, is that web series is very parallel to what you're actually, at least the production is very parallel to what you see in big theatrical films, at least out of Bengal. So that has been the essence.
So if you're saying that you're trying to create a completely, like you, of course, you're not focusing only on Bengal or your TV audience. So when you choose a content, or when you pick on a content, or when you assign somebody to do a web series or any of your films that you have been originals on Hoichoi, what's the kind of mindset that you have? And as the panel discussion is about the evolution of storytelling. So what is the different kind of storytelling that you guys are looking forward to cater when you have so much competition? Like Hoichoi is, another thing is that it is a hardcore Bengali OTT platform, whereas when you talk about a Netflix or an Amazon or a Z5 or any of the Sony Lives and Disneys of the world, they cater to all language. So they have a bigger palette. So when you have niche audience with a niche language, what's the difference that, what is the different approach that you have in picking story or trying to tell a story on your platform?
Firstly, in India context, we are definitely a language platform, but if you look into the addressable market, it's pretty much 300 million people worldwide, which is more than the population of the US. And that's in itself a very sizable chunk. So Hoichoi does not need to worry about scale. Secondly, to answer your question, I think, see, there has been a strong evolution of the type of content from what we started out back in 2017 to what we are currently doing. And you will also see a very stark evolution even in next year's slate that we are planning. When we started out, we wanted to be a very alternate content platform, and I don't mind saying this out loud today, but when today, after almost 8 years, we are sitting with 150 IPs, pretty much the largest creator of original content in the country.
Wow.
And with the hours of content that we have invested and built, and the audiences that has consumed the content, I think we have millions and billions of data from people, primarily from a watch time, to actually specify what each cohort would be watching. So we are very confident in saying that I'm creating, let's say, 40% of my content would be based on a certain factor because, let's say, 20% of my audience base would want to watch it. And we say that with very confident because we have all the user behavior. And that is what goes into creating a content slate. So you would have seen, I think we have started investing in horror genre, which we never used to do. I think it's only in the last year we tried it out. And in the upcoming slate, you will at least see 3 to 4 titles on the horror mythos space. That is simply because we have seen the traction and people want it. So we don't have a fixed mindset, hey, we have to do this. We always try to innovate every day with whatever is releasing and try to understand what the audience wants, and that's what dictates a content strategy for Hoichoi.
Great. But while he's talking about his plate of content, his kind of subscriber he's very confident about, I know for a fact that TVF works completely differently. And they don't believe in star system. They try to break in all the possible norms that's been there so far. And but in today's time, there's a tough competition between all the OTT platforms, because OTT is also trying to bring in the big faces from Bollywood or television or cinema to get that eyeballs so that it reaches out to the maximum number of subscribers. In this competitive time, How do you think that TVF is balancing their original idea of not falling into the trap of Bollywood or a Tollywood or a star system and still cater to different kind of storytelling?
Okay, thank you so much for having me here. One very basic, so people generally ask why TVF works so much. What is the secret sauce? I'll reveal it. It's right there. It's hard work that we put in. It is the 16, 18 hours that we put in every day. And one thing we forget, that hard work begins in that writer's room. It's that writer sitting in that room alone, wanting people to experience a feeling. So our backbone has always been creators, writers. And that is what will take us forward. Yes, we had a beautiful session with tech being a part of storytelling. My only say is tech cannot have a thought. And that thought begins in the writer's room. So
Correct.
that has been our secret sauce, and that will always be our secret sauce. We respect, we want to bring the respect, like how Salim sir, Javed sir said in their series as well. The writers to be the front runners of our company. And that is that, as you said, Arunab has instilled this institution in all of us to believe that, the creator puts in the effort and he should be the front runner and not the faces that drive. Yes, they are important part of marketing. They are important part of, bringing audiences in. Maybe that's why when recently we announced our first feature film that we are doing as TVF Pictures.
Yeah.
We're
With
doing
Siddharth Malhotra.
Yes, with Siddharth. But again, the creator is Deepak Mishra, who's the director for Panchayat, and it is very important for upcoming creators, especially writers, directors, even creative producers, showrunners, to realize that they are also the heroes of every project that they are doing. Because until and unless they don't decide this will work in the drawing board, it is not going to, actually turn around. So that's what we feel as creators, and I hope coming generation of filmmakers realize the fact they are the heroes and not just the faces that come and represent them. So that's the answer.
Superb, Satya, because taking a cue from Satya, of course, when we are talking about creator, when we are talking about the showrunner, when we are talking about the director, we have the director out here. And so you have worked with OTT platforms like Disney, and also, I guess, you're working with Hoichoi. And
Netflix and
you've worked
yeah.
with Netflix also. So what he is saying, do you feel that the creator should be the face of the show, the showrunner, and OTT is completely different compared to that of how we see cinema or celluloid, which is mostly driven by the star face?
I think it's a dream scenario, but I think very unlikely in our country, because a Bansali may be, on the forefront, but even for all these successful TVF shows, I don't know how many people actually know of Arunab. How many people know of TVF? They know of Panchayat. They love their Jitu. They know Kota Factory. But it is us, the industry, who know what is going on in the offices of TVF, how much work is being put in, how they champion good writing. I think I just want to mention, because that's how you started your conversation, I think where both my two colleagues on this stage got it right, and a lot of people have still not figured it out, is they've both tried to prioritize the audiences. When Netflix and Amazon came to India, both such global giants of OTT, their first idea was to change the audience. That we will bring global content to India. What Hoichoi has done brilliantly is given them what they want. I think that's a fundamental decision that they have taken. And now they have the luxury of trying different things. But they started with, this is my market, this is what they want, and I'm going to give it to them. Let them first flock to our platform. and then we'll feed them what we want to feed them. First, rice and fish curry, and then we will feed the biryani, you know. So, and TVF is exactly that, when no star faces, just great stories of India. There will never be a show like Panchayat coming out of the US. It's a homegrown Indian show, as Meera Nair famously said, that if we don't tell our stories, who will? So I think the shining part of both Hoichoi and TVF is the content. And while it's very unlikely that the content creators will be the faces of these shows, but content actually will make the shows the big thing.
Okay. Well put, Pratim. While we are at it, we have one of our guests who got stuck at the traffic. Sujoyneel Bandyopadhyay is here. A warm welcome for Sujoyneel. Please join us. Since we're talking about content and the faces of who are driving the content on OTT and alternate medium, we have Sujoyneel, who is, I know him personally again since his Doordarshan days, and now he is a big face as an influencer, and he himself is running his own channel. So what do you think that how important it is for the content creator to be equally popular or famous to pull in the crowd, or it is just the pure content and anybody can be a content creator?
রামদা, আমি বাংলাতেই বলতে চাইছি, যেহেতু আমি বাংলাতেই কন্টেন্ট করি এবং যারা আমাকে শোনেন তারা বাংলাতেই শোনেন, তাই আমি এটাও বাংলাতেই বলতে চাই। দেখো, শুরু যখন করেছিলাম তখন তো বিখ্যাত হব ভেবে করিনি। যে কাজগুলো করতে চেয়েছিলাম সেই কাজগুলো যাতে মানুষের কাছে পৌঁছয় এবং যে মানুষের গল্পগুলো বলতে চাইছি সেগুলো যেন মানুষ গ্রহণ করে, সেটাই আমার লক্ষ্য ছিল এবং আজও সেটাই করে চলেছি। এবং 4 বছরে প্রায় 3,500 মানুষের গল্প বলেছি এবং সেখানে আমি এখনও কোনো দিন ফিল করি না যে আমি এই কন্টেন্টটা ভাইরাল হবে বলে করছি, এবং সেটা মানুষজন ভালোবেসে ফেলে এবং সেখান থেকেই আরও মানুষ ইন্সপায়ার্ড হয়। এবং যখন কোথাও যাই, মানুষজন যখন কথা বলে যে এই গল্পটা শুনে আমি আমার জীবনে কাজে লাগিয়েছি। ইনফ্যাক্ট আজকেই আমি একটা মেল পেয়েছি রামদা, যেখানে সে বলছে যে আমার ছবি সে রেখেছে বাড়িতে এবং সে তার মা জিজ্ঞেস করেছে এটা কে, বলছে যেদিন কিছু করতে পারবো সেদিন বলবো কে এটা। সো আমি সেই জায়গায় পৌঁছইনি জানি, কিন্তু তবুও যদি একজন দুজনকেও ইন্সপায়ার করতে পারি মানুষের গল্প বলে, সেটা কম কি। এবং তুমি ফেমাস হওয়ার কথা বললে, তো ফেমাস যারা ভালো কাজ করে তারা এমনিতেই হয়, আর যারা ভাইরাল হওয়ার জন্য করে তারা খুব তাড়াতাড়ি ফুরিয়েও যায়।
হ্যাঁ, তো এই ফুরিয়ে যাওয়াটা নিয়ে অ্যান্ড শেষ হয়ে যাওয়াটা নিয়ে যেটা সুজয়নীল এক্ষুনি বললো, যে the longevity of the content in these kind of platform. Like when we talk about cinema, cellular jodi amra boli, but whatever, when we talk about cinema, it is forever. But what is the longevity and what is the memory span of the audiences? Because there's so much of content in our in and around, not just Hoichoi, but there are so many OTT platforms, and there are so many alternate entertainment medium. So how are we coping up? So this question is for you, that how do you cope up with the constant competition, which even Pratim also very rightly said, that to bring in the global content, because of course there's a huge push of a global content which people are consuming in large number. Languages has become like a huge issue. I mean, earlier we didn't have to face competition with the Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, all these languages, but now I think we do have to face when it comes to OTT. So how do you face this competition? Because it is enormous, it's huge.
I think the answer is very simple technically, because it's being very true to what you have promised to your users, right? I think we operate by 2-3 pillars that we have promised our users, that we will be releasing content every month, at least 2 to 3. We will be bringing forward whatever is the biggest theatrical release, at least most of them you will see it on Hoichoi. And that has been the basic value proposition. And we have also not increased our pricing, so that's also a major factor in decision making. So we have kept that also constant. And I think what has happened over time is we have really invested in building very strong characters. Like you said, the longevity of the content, a story may stay or it might be in somebody's mind, but characters will stay on. And that is what we try and build more often, so that we can create more franchises, which has a very instant connect with the audience, and then you can really utilize that IP not only in the format of a web series. Today, Hotstar has adapted a lot of our shows which they are remaking. A lot of brands have adapted some of our characters which they are utilizing. So the potential is very strong, and that is how you keep, let's say, the content of the characters alive.
True. So when it comes to content, I want to ask Pratim that as a filmmaker, because you've done feature film, and from there on, of course, you've done web series. So what are the pluses and what are the minuses, if I ask you in a very simple way, that how do you deal with the process of telling a story when it's a feature film? What's your process as a director apart from the time constraint? And when you are doing a series, how do you see yourself creatively placing yourself as a maker?
So the show I made for Netflix, I wrote, directed it over 3 years. So that's 3 years of my life on one show, 8 episodes. So I think the main difference of long form writing for the screen as opposed to writing like say 100-minute, 110-minute feature is that every episode is a film and the whole season is also a film. So while the first episode is the first act of the entire season, then every episode also has 3 acts. Then maybe the first, like we had this Zoom meeting through a lot of creators of Netflix at that point when we were writing the show. And the person taking the workshop, he said that we have done our research, Shomo can correct me. So the Netflix research says that within the first 5 minutes, audiences decide whether they're going to watch that particular show / episode, So you have to put something in the first 5 minutes which grabs them, hopefully just the eyeballs, but grabs them. But yeah, so it was quite a challenge. Of course, there was a lot of back and forth, with a global platform. There was a lot of revisions and notes and corrections and constant feedback, which is good and bad because
time was luxury.
Time was luxury, budget was luxury, but at the same time, it was a very interesting exercise, a tough challenge, and I think those who are doing well are those who have mastered this craft of long form writing. If you see Raj and DK, they have got it right over so many shows. TVF has got it right over so many shows. Those who are not getting it right are not getting it right at all. So it's a different craft altogether of creating a franchise, as Shomo said, because you can't pitch any show today without possible future seasons. So it's a must for any platform now to not make short, a limited series, but to make a series which will at least run for 3 years. So in that capacity, you're having to think as a creator that I'll come up with something which will go on, for at least 18 to 24 episodes, So it's a very different exercise than say writing a film.
True. The same goes for I think TVF also, because you guys also up a lot on franchise and you have a lot of series that you keep continuing, making, and it works. So, which is not the case with many series, which is like, the first season is good, the second season didn't work, the third season they've made and they scrapped. We hear a lot of stories. So how do you feel, so when you actually start in the thinking process, which you said that everything starts at the writer's room, at the writer's board, at that beanbag room. So at that beanbag room, when you actually start thinking about a Panchayat or a Kota Factory or any of these, do you foresee that, okay, we are seeing a 5 season, we are seeing a 6 season, or you would just focus on season 1 and then the success probably makes you think of the next season? How does it work? Because this question is for you, because you are not a OTT platform. You create your own content without the financial support of a channel. A channel can think because the channel's got its own money. You are creating the content, you're putting in your own money, then you are approaching a platform whom you are putting it on an acquisition. So there's a different way of thinking. So how do you think?
So, yes, franchisees work exactly what, Soumya said. It works. The biggest franchisee, just for understanding purpose, I will say, let's say Ramayana, okay? It's a franchisee that has passed time again and again. But we still remember Ramanand Sagar, right? So when we sit down in the room, yes, OTTs also, there is a demand of, creating franchises that will sustain for multiple seasons. But again, as filmmakers, creators, there is a certain, limitation to a story as well. You cannot just pick up a short form content and say, iska bana do aap, 5 season bana do. We said that's not possible. Every story has its own, life, shelf, whatever you say. I'll give another example to that, Aspirants, I hope everyone's seen Aspirants. 3 years we were trying to sell that show. No buyers, no belief. And that's how TVF generally, works, is because हमारी कहानियाँ इतनी कोई rocket science नहीं है. It is just the depth of emotion that, comes in. And I think that credit I would like to give to the OTT platforms. Why? Because that sense of, understanding and emotion has come through the choice of content you are making. जो शायद मनमोहन देसाई के टाइम पे एक ट्रेडमार्क था कि ये माँ ऐसी होगी, बहन ऐसी होगी. That emotion has evolved. That emotion has become genres in itself. Like, for example, a father revenge story, I think my fellow mates will agree, has become a genre in itself.
Correct.
Recently, we saw a film with Madhavan and Ajay Devgan.
Correct.
Shaitan, yeah. So and if you notice, every 5 years, there is a father revenge story or coming in. So, OTTs have brought that depth of emotion, that we are looking at. And that's what we as TVF believe in, that does this story have that depth to sustain 5 seasons? And Aspirants, nobody believed in it. It was earlier called UPSC Dreams.
Yes.
So nobody believed in it. And I would really appreciate the brand partners that support us in creating content. They are empowering TVF to create content, because then we say, okay, if you guys don't want to buy it, we are going to put it on our YouTube channel and let the audience decide. Let them say what is it, good or bad. And the rest is history. Aspirants did 200 million plus views, organic views. It inspired a very renowned filmmaker to make a theatrical film as well. Surprisingly, another thing we noticed, like franchisee part, again, I'll extend the same thing. We have made spin-offs out of Aspirants.
Yes.
SK Sir Ki Class is one spin-off, Sandeep Bhaiya is another. We are working on one more. So technically, I think Aspirants is a very good example, because I don't think there is any other show in the world that has 4 spin-offs coming in. So that's what the power of franchising or creating character or creating universes helps, creators to extend the storyline. So I think that answers your query.
Absolutely right, Satya, and that brings me to Sujoy, because আমি জানি যে সুজয়েরও যে ধরনের কন্টেন্ট সুজয় ক্রিয়েট করছে, সুজয়েরও প্ল্যাটফর্ম ইউটিউবে আলটিমেট প্ল্যাটফর্মেও অনেক কন্টেন্ট দিচ্ছে এবং সেগুলো প্রচণ্ড ভালো রিচ হচ্ছে। তো এই যখন সিলেকশন যখন করা হচ্ছে বা যখন যে ধরনের কন্টেন্ট তুমি চুজ করছো, সেইটার পদ্ধতিটা কি? কারণ এরা তো ধরে নেওয়া যেতে পারে যে এরা এন্টারটেইনমেন্ট বিট, মানে এক্সটেন্ডেড এন্টারটেইনমেন্ট বিট, দে আর অল ট্রাইং টু এন্টারটেইন থ্রু স্টোরি টেলিং। তুমি সিনেমা বানাচ্ছ না, তুমি কন্টেন্টটা ওইভাবে বানাচ্ছ না, তুমি বলছো, you are almost like a narrator. So you being a narrator yourself on YouTube particularly, how do you attract your audience? How do you get subscribers? Or what is the what are the challenges যদি সেভাবে বলি?
দেখো, শুরুর ক্ষেত্রে আমি একটা জিনিসই ভেবেছিলাম যে কোনো একটা সময় কন্টেন্ট ফুরিয়ে যাবে। মানে এটা সবার একটা ভয় থাকে আমাদের যে অ্যাট এনি পয়েন্ট আমাদের কন্টেন্ট আর নেই, আর কিছু নেই। সো এই ভয়টা আমি পাওয়ার পর একটা জিনিস আমার মাথার মধ্যে চলছিল যে আমাদের দেশে এত মানুষ এবং প্রত্যেকটা মানুষের ফিঙ্গারপ্রিন্ট যদি আলাদা হয় তাদের গল্পটাও আলাদা। তো সেখান থেকে যে কজন মানুষ আর কি বেরিয়ে আসছে একটা উদাহরণ হয়ে, তাদের গল্প যদি তুলে ধরতে পারি, সো সেইটা তো কখনো শেষ হতে পারে না। তা আমার মাথার মধ্যে যখন এইটা এলো, তখন আমি আমার যে টিম রয়েছে পুরো টিম মিলে আমরা এটাই খোঁজার চেষ্টা করি প্রতিদিন যে আজকে কি ঘটেছে দেখা যাক। সেখান থেকে ধরো সেই স্টোরিটা হয়তো 2 সপ্তাহ বাদে এলো, কিন্তু কি ঘটেছে এই জিনিসটা খোঁজটা আমাদের চলতে থাকে। এবং সেটা শুধুমাত্র নিউজ মিডিয়ার মধ্যে দিয়ে নয়, অন ফিল্ড আমরা যে কোনোভাবে বিভিন্ন জায়গায় পৌঁছই, মানুষের সঙ্গে কথা বলি। কেননা যখন ধরো একটা জায়গা বড় হয়, এই মুহূর্তে আলটিমেটের প্রায় দর্শক সংখ্যা 30 লক্ষ, 3 মিলিয়ন। সো সেখানে একটা দায়িত্বও বর্তায় যে ঠিক তথ্যটা আমি পৌঁছে দিচ্ছি কি না। এবং তুমি যেটা বলছিলে কন্টেন্ট বাছার ক্ষেত্রে, তো হ্যাঁ এরকমও হয় যে যেখানে আমরা স্পন্সরের কথা বলি, এরকম প্রচুর স্পন্সর আসে যে আমাদের স্টোরিটা বলুন, আমরা এত টাকা অফার করছি। কিন্তু এইটুকু আমি এখানে দাঁড়িয়ে বলতে পারি, আমি জানি না আদার কন্টেন্ট ক্রিয়েটার্স কী করে। আমি মানে এরকম ধরে নাও মাসে 30টা যদি আসে, আমি 29টাকে ক্যান্সেল করি যাতে অডিয়েন্সের কাছে আমি ট্রুথফুল থাকতে পারি। সো এই জিনিসটা আমার চলতে থাকে। এবং তুমি যে বলছিলে আমি অ্যাজ আ প্রেজেন্টার কাজ করছি, তার সঙ্গে কিন্তু ছোট ছোট
you're not Prosenjit, or you're not Raima Sen, or you're not, you know, how will in the audience. So how সেই চ্যালেঞ্জটা কি করে আনো, সেই চ্যালেঞ্জটা কি করে ফেস করো?
দেখো, ধীরে ধীরে কিন্তু মানুষ কণ্ঠটাকে চিনে গেছে। সো যখনই ধরো কোনো একটা প্ল্যাটফর্মে কিছু না কিছু বলছি, লোকে শুনছে যে কী বলছে দেখি লোকটা। তো এইটা একটা জায়গা তৈরি হয়েছে, এটার জন্য সময় লেগেছে 4-4টে বছর। সোশ্যাল মিডিয়ার ক্ষেত্রে বলছি, টেলিভিশন তো ধরো আগে থেকেও ছিল, এখনও রয়েছে, কিন্তু যেটা বলছি লোকে জানে, এই মুহূর্তে জেনে গেছে যে এই লোকটা ভুল কিছু বলবে না। তো এইটা করতে সময় লেগেছে, এই ট্রুথফুল থাকা, যেটা তোমায় বলছিলাম যে এতগুলোকে বাতিল করা। অবভিয়াসলি আমি জানি যে আমার বিজনেস বড় হবে, আমার যে হাউস রয়েছে তাতে আমার যে সমস্ত ছেলেমেয়েরা কাজ করছে তাদের স্যালারিজ আমি বাড়াতে পারবো, কিন্তু তাতেও যদি ট্রুথফুল থাকতে পারি, এটা লং রানের ক্ষেত্রে আমাকে হেল্প করবে। এইটা আমি সবসময় মাথার মধ্যে ভাবি।
That is absolutely right, Shuja. And coming back to Soumya once again, and as we are nearing towards the end of this evening session, budget. আমার সবসময় মনে হয় যে বাজেট একটা ভীষণ ইম্পর্ট্যান্ট রোল প্লে করে এই পুরো ব্যাপারটার মধ্যে। হোয়াট এভার স্টোরি টেলিং আমরা যাই বলি না কেন, যেভাবেই বলতে চাই না কেন, সেটা হয়তো প্রতিমও স্বীকার করবে, বা সত্যও স্বীকার করবে, বা সুজয়ও স্বীকার করবে যে হ্যাঁ মানে একটা সব কিছুর পেছনে একটা টাকার একটা ব্যাপার আছে। You are running the leading OTT platform in Bengal. So how do you decide upon a budget when a story is being thrown towards you? For example, I'm not taking name of any particular show. I'm just trying to say that there are many shows which I have seen that you have mounted it really big. There are shows which is medium. There are shows which, pardon me, but poor. So what is the criteria of allotting a budget when you hear a particular story, and how do you balance it in your own platform? Because একটা স্ট্যান্ডার্ড মানে সাবস্ক্রাইবার তো একটা স্ট্যান্ডার্ড ভিউইং একটা প্যাটার্ন হয়ে গেছে যে এই ধরনের জিনিস আমরা দেখতে পাবো। সেখানে যদি খুব একটা আপ ডাউন হয় প্রোডাকশনের বা লুকের, তাহলে তো সেটা নিশ্চয়ই এফেক্ট করবে। তো সব মিলিয়ে হাউ ডু ইউ হ্যান্ডেল দ্য সিচুয়েশন?
পুরোটাই বিজনেস ইকোনমিক্স। অ্যান্ড see, when we set out, we know that we have so many people that we are catering to, millions of people worldwide, and every show will have a certain objective. Objective is not only linked to in how many months am I recovering the cost.
Correct.
But objective is linked to what are my retention numbers, what is my new user growth. So there are a lot of factors around that. And I think with 150 titles in over 8 years, we have sort of figured out what should be the right mix. And that is why you will see a lot of shows which is mounted very well. The shows which you call poor, they they have a very strong audience base and people want to watch it. So that has been the philosophy at Hoichoi. Yes.
And the same question goes to you, because you, as a maker, when you are trying to kind of make a content, of course you have a vision. So do you end up compromising on the vision purely because of the budget being allotted finally after evaluating your story? Because maybe you thought of creating it in a different way, but you don't have a certain budget, but you have to do the story, you are stuck somewhere, you're getting a platform to tell at least the story, so let's make it because it's my passion, so let me compromise, let me just at least make it, at least hoyto jabe chobita. এই একটা mentality বাঙালিদের আছে.
Of course. I think the ideal situation is before the final draft of the script is done, the guy tells me that this is the budget. Then it makes a life lot easier. Then you know that this scene doesn't need to be set in front of Victoria Memorial. It can be set in a cafe. So in that way, I think, of course, there are moments in your script which need a certain kind of, canvas, and others can be, made to fit into a budget, and that's something you learn over the years, making films in Bengal, in Bengali. That's famous line that if you can drive an ambassador car, you can drive any car.
Yes.
So in a similar vein, if you have made films in Calcutta, I think you can fit any budget in, and so it's crazy where it starts.
It's the best academy, you mean to say.
Sorry?
Best academy, best school to kind of learn.
Absolutely. It starts somewhere there, the vision, and then the budget starts somewhere here, and you're hoping that it will come somewhere midway, but it finishes here only. So it's a tough battle.
কয়েকদিন বাদে বাজেট নিয়ে পড়ানো হবে.
Budget niye poran hobe, yes. But yeah, but that's always there. I think people who are coming in now, I think Ringo was saying that, zero budget he was talking about. So now people have no expectations. They know that there's nothing.
Zero budget.
Like
What's
he's saying,
that?
shoot with phones and stuff like that.
Okay.
In the earlier panel discussion.
Oh, lovely.
So which was on digital
That's
things.
scary and lovely.
It is.
It's really scary. Zero budget film.
We are doing a lot of work with AI, and it is intense what AI is able to do at these days. So I think the world would be very different in a year or two.
So you mean to say that? So explain. So you can.
See, there are language models, right? While entire AI is built on English as the main language model, but a lot of work is going on small language models, which is primarily your Hindi and Bengali. And I think I attended a big content market, I think last month. So at least Hollywood is talking primarily about replacing a lot of creative aspects with AI. I don't want to get into the details of those, but so that is based on certain models, and those are being replicated in small language models.
Acha.
So that is where the world would be very different in a 2 year span.
So Bob, looking forward to that.
রামকমলদা এআই কিন্তু মানে কন্টেন্টকে রিপ্লেস করতে পারবে না আমার মনে হয়.
থট
আমার তো
রিপ্লেস
মনে
করতে পারবে না,
থটকে রিপ্লেস
থটকে
করা
রিপ্লেস
সম্ভব
করতে
নয়.
পারবে না, এটা আমি
প্রতিমদাও
অ্যাবসলিউটলি
মানবে এটা.
Absolutely. I mean, খুব ফেমাস একটা ফিল্মের ডায়ালগ বলছি, একটা ইংরেজি ফিল্মের. সো ক্যারেক্টারকে বলা হচ্ছে এখন porn industry is doing so much VR, this, that, digital porn. And the character says, but I still jerk off manually. So the point is, finally you have to touch through emotion. I think that is where it has to hit you.
Yeah, totally.
I think people need to use it to their advantage. And থট কেউ রিপ্লেস করতে পারবে না, বাট যারা এটাকে ইউটিলাইজ করতে
মানে
পারবে
যা
তারা আরো
হয়ে
better
গেছে
করতে
সেটা
পারবে।
থেকে এআই কিছু একটা কিছু বানিয়ে নেবে.
Of course.
কিন্তু নতুন তো কিছু আসছে না.
Of course.
Correct. And
Yeah.
on the budget.
Yeah. When have you heard that this is sufficient budget? It is, you will never get the sufficient budget, and that is where the challenge comes in. You pick it up from silent film era, when Charlie Chaplin didn't have the budget, he figured out VFX at that time. And I think that is the challenge we as creators have to realize, that there is a business part of this content creation that needs to be respected, because until and unless you don't respect that, हमारे घर नहीं चलने वाले, right? So, and somewhere that limitation brings in more creativity. 10 years down the line, if I told you that I will make a film just on screens, you would say, are you obnoxious? There are, films like Searching that have come in.
Yes.
And I went to see the film in Juhu, which is very posh, because that was the only place it was released, and it was houseful.
Okay.
And I personally believe business is a very important aspect of our creation, and it will only create new genres. A film like Brahm Yugam, for example, Mammootty, it's a single location film.
Beautiful film.
So creators are realizing the fact that, there is a business agnostic to it, and you need to respect it. Now, how can I create something in this particular box that I have got? So I personally feel there is a lot of new genres that are going to come in because of the business side of things also limiting, the creators as well.
True. Satya, on that note, I think we are nearing to the almost the end of the session. And all I can say today, after speaking to our eminent panelists, that storytelling will continue. Whatever hurdles we face in the process will also continue. But I think there is always a passion in which drives Shomo to lead this OTT channel and constantly look for new content and to keep the subscribers on and to get more subscribers on. A struggle that TVF will have to continue with the brands, without the brands, with the platform, without the platform, without losing their sensibilities and without losing their core understanding of content. A struggle for a filmmaker is always there, and a content creator is always there, who wants to make something, ends up making something, but that always happens. Sometimes the creator is happy, sometimes the creator is not happy, but the creator is creating, that is most important. And so goes for Sujoyneel, who is an independent creator. Amongst all these, established, well-supported financially companies, we are also seeing individual creators who are growing in their own capacity and also earning a lot of fame, a lot of love from the people. So I guess there is this huge scope for content in our country, not just Bengal, because when we talk about OTT, when we talk about alternate medium of content, we're talking global. So I guess on that note, we would like to end this wonderful session, and thank you for hearing us all, and hope you're having a great evening, and I'm looking forward to the last session. And as we are talking about content and we are talking about success, we have Abhi Chatterjee here, one of the leading prominent film actor who is going to be on stage next, and a big round of applause for him for giving the biggest Bengali blockbuster this year, Bahurupi. And I think we need to kind of create different content, and we need to create many more cinema, many more web series like this for you all to get entertained and for all of us to kind of keep running and keep giving you what you want. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू सो मच. मुझे जेन्युइनली लगता है कि ये तालियों की गूंज जो है और ज़्यादा ज़ोर से बढ़नी चाहिए. प्लीज़, वी आर कमिंग टू द फैग एंड ऑफ द डे, बट देन जितना ज़्यादा एक्साइटमेंट है उतना ही अच्छा है. आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल ऑफ यू टू प्लीज़ काइंडली वेट. आई रिक्वेस्ट मिस्टर सिद्धार्थ लाइक, फाउंडर एंड एडिटर इन चीफ IWMBuzz Media Network, to kindly please come on stage and hand over the token of appreciation to all of them over here, please. And thank you so much for this detailed discussion. I'm pretty sure it's going to be helping the ones who actually need that help.